So we're sitting up here at Tobacco de Carreras. We have a nice little plop upstairs, and we're gonna do a little recap of the last 4 crazy days we had at the factory.
Very busy.
Because I don't know if you guys felt it or not, but this was a much faster pace than what we normally operate when we're down here.
Sure, yeah.
We had fun. We got a lot accomplished.
Yeah,
at least I had fun. I don't know if you guys.
Oh yeah,
I
that
had,
was cool.
I had an absolute blast.
Learned a lot.
Yeah.
More than I could ever fully process.
It's, and I was telling you guys before we got down here, like every time I come down, I learn something new, and I don't think that'll ever stop. And if it does, then I'm in the wrong industry. I'm doing the wrong thing. If I can't learn any more about it, like, why am I still doing this? So just like a quick little recap. We got down here. Monday was a very, very, very long travel day for us. I don't know what time you ended up leaving your house, Caleb.
It was like 3 a.m.
I was gonna say I left my house about 2:30.
Yeah.
Met Justin at the shop at 3, and then got to the airport, and then we didn't get to the hotel here until just shy of 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 And so that was like a solid
It was a good long
14
day.
hours
Yeah,
of
yeah.
travel.
Yeah.
But we made it. We got checked in. We ate. Everybody crashed hard. And then Tuesday morning, we showed up at the factory bright and early, ready to crush the world.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Right. What did we do on Tuesday? I don't even remember now.
Tuesday we did,
Let me look at my pictures.
I think we did like no cameras really or anything. You just gave us the tour of the factory.
Oh, yeah.
We just kinda-
we did factory tour. And
got to
then
soak that in.
Yeah.
I think we did try our hand at rolling some cigars.
Yeah. We rolled cigars.
Yeah.
We all killed it.
Yeah, and then we smoked those cigars that night,
Mhm.
or like immediately after. I think I had mine with dinner. It was awesome. Like that was a crazy experience.
'Cause it
And
tastes so different.
It tasted awesome, and especially, obviously it wasn't like crazy tight or anything like that, but it smoked really well. Like I smoked the whole thing. I don't even think I had to relight it or anything.
Right.
Smoked well. So even like being someone who's never done it, like just them teaching us was enough for us to make
we did have
good
expert
cigar.
guidance on
Exactly,
that.
like them walking us through every step was enough to make a really good cigar.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it tasted awesome, and it was fucking such a cool experience.
Right.
Yeah.
What I appreciated about when they were teaching the rolling side of it is they let you guys fail.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And then they were like, no, we're done.
start
Take it
over.
apart.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is trash. Yeah.
They didn't like reach in and like
No.
stop you.
Yeah,
So now you learn, like, I remember the first time that I did it, like they couldn't not like reach in and do it
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me,
yeah.
and I see where they're coming from on it. But you guys now learned, like, when you're doing the wrappers and like, who put the hole in it? Where you had it? Yeah.
That was me.
And you're like, can I fix it? And she's like, no. And you're like, oh.
The look of
And then-
disappointment on her face.
But then the next time you did it, when you got to that same point, you were really careful,
yeah.
and you're like, no, and
Yeah,
then it was good.
Absolutely,
So
yeah, because
Yeah.
it was my pointer finger that I was using and I was rolling it, and I think I was putting like 90% of the pressure on that one finger, and I felt it just whoop, and I was like, I screwed it.
Oh yeah, I had too much glue on my fingers, and I ripped mine.
Yeah.
At the very last process,
Yeah.
it stuck to my fingers when I was trying to stretch it out, and then I just ripped it. And I was like, oh. So,
when you were trying to put the cap on one of yours,
to get off my
and it
fingers,
kept
yeah.
sticking to every
I was
other
like,
finger every
yeah,
time. Flapping so
Yeah,
hard.
that was rough. Yeah.
It's funny watching them now though, because you see they only have like a
The-
pointer finger and a thumb that
Yep.
gets glued. Those
Yep.
are the only ones, and we're over here
I had
like,
it on
Cover up to my
everything.
elbow.
It's like, yeah.
like I remember walking off the table and just like rubbing my hands, and I was like, oh, I have glue everywhere.
Yep.
Like this
Yeah.
is not good.
Dave, you were the first one to roll,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so you got less instruction than everybody else did.
I
'Cause
did.
Everybody else got to watch. They got to
Yeah.
listen, and then they got to watch.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
happen more times. You just got thrown to the wolves. What do you think about that?
It is definitely not as easy as it looks. Like you see videos and things like that online. You see, other reps will have taken videos of other rollers doing it, and you're like, it's like you were saying the other day, I can do that, and then you get in, and you're like, I can't fucking do this.
Well, you can, but it just
Yeah,
it takes
it's
you
not as
10 times
it's not as
Yeah,
fluid
the
as
time.
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah, like anybody could do it. It is just a lot of attention to detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like being very careful and just like learning how pliable the
Yeah.
leaf is that you're working
Well,
with.
and also how fragile.
Exactly, yeah, because there was a lot of times that I was like, I didn't want to use too much like strength and rip it, but they were like, no, stretch it out, and I'm like, oh, okay, and then I'd do it,
Yeah.
and then when I had too much glue on my finger, I tried to do that, and then I ripped it, and I was like, fuck, like
Yeah.
there's a very fine point,
Right.
like in between that you learn to use. So.
But the tobacco leaves are actually pretty tough.
Yeah, yeah.
When they have
Moist.
moisture
Yeah,
added
yeah,
to them.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they're
Yeah.
dry, they are
Yeah.
unbelievably brittle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
we gave our hand at rolling. We kind of got the quick and dirty learning the process of how this factory operates.
Mm-hmm.
How, when the tobacco comes in, some of the processes that they do with the tobacco actually right below the floor we're sitting on.
Oh, yeah.
The pylons are down there. And then on the other side of the wall behind the camera is on the first floor is the sorting rooms and, that kind of stuff. And then we got to walk through our aging room.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of that experience?
Strong.
It'll open you up inside of there. That smell is definitely hits you in the face.
There's a nice little ammonia smell that's
But it
coming
gets
in
kind of
there.
nice after, like you kind of like.
Once you get used to
Yeah,
it,
you kind of like, you're like,
Yeah.
I kind of like this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it was
that-
weird. Like you're almost like a little high, and you're like, oh,
like opens your sinuses.
yeah. It felt pretty good. Yeah.
It's impressive the organization that
Oh,
they
yeah.
have in
Yeah.
everything.
We
Like,
think like that aging room. There's 800,000 cigars in there.
yeah.
If you don't know where everyone is or have at least a good system, some of the cigars might not ever see the light of day.
Absolutely.
Like that's so
Absolutely.
many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see what else we did. We did a rolling. We put the wrappers on after they were pressed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going through my pictures. I think that was kind of it for that day.
It really
we
was.
did.
I
We
mean,
got
we
a
had-
lot of like behind the scenes work stuff done, like things that we had to do. We got a lot of stuff done. About
Yeah,
half
you had
of our
actual
list.
work.
Yep.
You were doing a lot that day.
Yeah. And then that night we went and got dinner.
Yeah.
That was a
that
place that was
right,
up on the hill.
Yeah, that was nice.
Uh-huh.
And that was interesting because we were literally the only people there.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
bizarre.
That food is delicious.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah, when
Oh, yeah.
when the chef came out to make sure that we were enjoying our
Yeah.
food, and then as I was walking away, I kind of turned and looked over my shoulder. I was like, "Yeah, we're the 4 dudes in this entire place right now."
Yeah.
Yeah, and they definitely. And I can't say it for sure, but I believe that chef put a little extra love in that.
Oh
because,
yeah, it was
like
awesome.
So good.
yeah, the food
All
is
the
phenomenal.
food we've had.
He
this
might
whole
have just
trip
been
is-
glad to have something to do.
I know, right?
All the food we've had this whole trip though has been
Yeah,
Yeah, really good.
phenomenal.
And it's like you said, it's all been like pretty healthy. Like everything
Yeah.
we ate has been mostly meat and rice and like that little slice of cheese and
Yeah.
then a crap
Yeah.
load of plantains.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Caleb's a
Yeah.
big
Oh
plantain
god,
fan.
like you could people at home, like if you have not been here, if you've ever been to like a Brazilian steakhouse or something, they have those they bring out.
Yeah.
Those, it's almost like caramelized plantains that
Yep.
they fry. Like so if they've had those, like, oh yeah, I know those are good. They're so much better down here.
Right.
But it's so fresh, and they serve like some form of them with every meal. It's
We had
so
them with
awesome.
breakfast this morning.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It was like, here's your scrambled eggs and sautéed plantains.
yeah. Yeah, you're like,
Plantains
hell
or
yeah.
whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
They're like French fries back home. They come
Yeah.
with everything.
and French fries still come with everything down
Yep.
here.
Yeah,
Too.
That
but
is also
also
true,
French fries.
They got steak and fries the other night.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then Wednesday morning, we went to the tobacco processing facility.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was
So that was, we kind of did everything backwards, honestly, this trip.
Yeah.
We did the factory,
Yeah.
then we did the processor, and then we did the field, the
Yeah.
farms.
The whole process is
So
backwards.
if
Yeah.
you just remember it backwards, then
Yeah,
it's the right
we did it
order.
right, yeah.
But you also got a chance to connect the dots as you go backwards
Right.
through the process because you're like, I remember seeing what that leaf was, and then I remember seeing it in the ground. I remember seeing it get, each of the different primings being picked.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
it made it easier.
The processor, and they were running kind of a skeleton crew versus what they normally do. I don't know if you heard them say, but they got about 800 people.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, wow.
just in those buildings every day.
Yeah.
And we probably saw 350.
Yeah.
There's a whole building, and it's the one that I really love because it's just like they have a little upstairs area, and it's just as far as you can see, it's people sorting tobacco, and it's just like, oh, this is amazing. you
Yeah.
know? But they weren't even running anything in that building. But it was awesome though, because even though they were running the skeleton crew, we still got to see the complete start to finish.
Yeah.
From when the plant shows up in a cardboard box, and then they take it out, they bundle them, they put them in the P-loans, they start that whole process. We saw the tumbler where they had the moisture.
Oh yeah.
That was
We smelled that from about a mile
I
away.
was gonna say, compared to the aging room here, that smell.
Yeah. It'd make your eyes water
You-
like immediately.
you couldn't
Oh,
walk
yeah.
into the room.
Yeah.
It was too much.
I remember they opened it up, and I went to like step in with the camera to
You're
get
like, oh,
something, and I
no.
was just like, oh god, like it's like the air left my body. I was like, I
Yeah.
can't.
It was like a sauna full of ammonia.
Oh,
Yeah.
Also like very hot and wet in there.
Yep.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a essentially like a mist system on
Yeah.
the floor, and it was just, I don't know, 100 psi of water spraying
Yeah.
out of that thing
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
moisture into the air.
And it was hot too.
Oh yeah, it was very
Oh,
hot
yeah.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah, they gotta crank the temperature up and humidity levels to get
Yeah.
that process started with the tobaccos. And then the cool thing is there's not just one process to do it. There's people that use a bunch of different processes.
Yeah.
So we got to see how they did it there. And it's, I've been other places where instead of having those tumblers like that, you just get a dude with a mister, and you just literally
Yeah.
just misting, all you're doing is adding moisture.
Yeah.
They're just jump starting it by adding a little bit of heat with it as well. See, after that, we,
I had one of the best cigars I'd ever had a chance to smoke.
Oh,
yeah.
That is true.
When
That
he
was
rolled it right
amazing.
there for us.
that was
that
great.
was really
The-
So we were
the
looking
manager
at,
that was there.
we saw the
Yeah.
tobaccos in the different stages of the processing. And we were getting towards the end. And this wasn't even a leaf that was like ready to go out the door yet.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and so the manager that was there at the facility, he just grabs one out of the bundle and rips off a nice little piece and spreads it out, and then starts breaking up the rest to fit the size.
Yeah.
And then he just rolled it, and literally didn't even like glue it or nothing,
No,
just
no.
held it together and handed it,
Yeah.
so we could light it and pass it around and
Yeah.
smoke it. And
And it was so good.
It was
it,
so
it
good.
really was like
So
that.
good.
It's funny too, because like it gets my wheels turning in my brain, and it's like that tasted that good. What is the reason why I can't stop the process right there
Yeah.
and use that tobacco? You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
and there's a million different reasons.
Sure.
But, but it's super cool to see the process. Because if we would have done that in an earlier process, we would have smoked that and like, ooh, I
Yeah.
don't like this one. Yeah. And then, so that was, I feel like we did more stuff Wednesday. Maybe I just didn't take enough pictures. Oh, no, we did. We went to the fields right after that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we did the.
I think we
No.
did the fields in the afternoon.
I think
No, we
was it
didn't.
Fields
We
yesterday?
did
No,
the fields
fields
in the
were
morning.
This was
Thursday.
yesterday.
Yeah. Yesterday, yeah.
Okay, see.
It's all starting to blend
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
The
You guys blended.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we came back and we
yeah.
that was
That's
it.
why I didn't get any pictures of it, because
Yeah.
we were all paying attention.
Yeah, yeah, we came back and then picked out. They had a sorting table set out for us, all the different tobaccos for the filler and the wrapper and the binder. We kind of got to like just pick, like smell and feel and look at like colors and stuff and come up with something that we wanted. And then with some advice, like got ideas for filler. Just kind of let him choose what would be best
Yeah.
with our combos that we came up with.
Yeah.
Gonzalo
They
is
went back
definitely
and
an expert when it comes to
of course.
helping.
So then they went back and made us what would they make us, like 10
Yeah.
Yeah.
of them, and
Yep.
smoked it. It was awesome. And now we got fucking like 30 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so you guys. So
age
the,
them, yeah.
the interesting part about blending is you can kind of get an idea of what you think that cigar is going to taste like
Yeah,
based off of what you think you're putting in it.
yeah,
But once you put it together, it can be different.
yeah.
And so luckily, all the cigars that you guys did, when we smoked them, like, they were good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
they weren't
were.
doctored.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
didn't suck.
Which was
And,
cool. That was like really surprising because I was like, I'm going to choose something and I'm going to be like, no.
Like, I didn't want to hype you guys up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and then when I was smoking them, I was just like, oh, fuck, they did a good job.
And I came into this hearing all the horror stories about like
all the
hey,
time
try
that
to-
we
yeah,
messed
try
shit
this
up. Yep.
and it's okay here, and then you bring it home and it just disintegrates into a terrible thing. I mean, we know the story of the one.
Yeah.
Now
These haven't been aged yet,
Sure.
so they
Yeah,
could.
it could be
Yes.
way different. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
So
could change
we
drastically.
still have some time to figure that out.
Y'all keep talking. I'm gonna check some on the camera.
Okay, but yeah, so we got that done. You guys got some some bundles to take home
Yeah.
to age and see how they all turn out. And then we didn't do anything. I think was it Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday night we went out.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. It was after
Yeah.
dinner we went and got.
We went out to a
some
bar
drinks.
called Famous.
Yes.
And there was like 14 people in there.
Including us four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got some drinks.
We
Hung out
did.
for an hour or so.
We did.
Last night we were all too tired. Nobody wanted.
Oh, man.
We had plans before dinner. Yep, we're gonna go to the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dinner
then we
hit,
ate.
and then it was like, see you guys in the morning.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny because we wake up and we get to the factory and it's just go, 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 go. And then we get back and we like
We stopped.
eat dinner and then it's just like the body just shuts
You're like,
down.
oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and everybody's kind of playing this like, what do you want to do tonight? What do you want to do tonight?
You're like throwing out feelers. Nobody wants to like
Yeah.
get the ball rolling. Like,
Yeah,
hey, okay,
yeah.
let's go out. Everyone
Yeah.
go get changed.
Yeah.
You know? No.
Yeah, and I think if we had gone out to dinner as opposed to going back to the hotel, it might have been a different story.
Yeah,
we
would've
we're,
went somewhere
we're
after
already
that.
out.
We're already
we might as well
out.
just
Yeah.
keep trucking.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we got a chance to go down there. We sat at the hotel.
Yeah.
You know, they brought the food. We sat. We ate. We bullshitted while we ate. And then by the end of that, it was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Oh gosh, the night before when we had a 6-steak dinner.
Oh, yeah, there was no shower.
No.
No. And I mean,
that wasn't gonna happen.
I think I've been saying it since my first trip down here, like whatever, 9 years ago. And I'm like, I really need to learn Spanish. And this trip kind of really solidified that. I mean, we got by, right? Like,
Yeah,
there
we
wasn't
handled
any issues. We never had any like major
Yeah.
incidents or
Yeah.
anything like that, except for dinner 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
We tried to order some of the sauteed
plantains, yeah.
plantains for Caleb.
He even
And
showed him a picture.
Yeah.
Showed him a picture. We did it. We got everything, and we ordered. You know, everybody ordered an entree. We ordered tostones and then I think a shrimp cocktail.
Yeah.
And so they bring out the entrees for everybody, and we're like, oh, maybe we're not going to get appetizers.
Yeah.
And then they come back and they bring over 2 more complete steak dinners.
Yes.
And then they bring a double order of plantains, an order of tostones, and a shrimp cocktail.
Yeah.
And then they like looked at us, and we were like, "What?"
They're like these fat Americans.
Right? And it's not like we're not gonna like send it back. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this isn't what we ordered. It was just like, oh, this was completely lost in translation.
Yeah.
Well, it also helped that they brought it out after we had already started in on the food, and it was what you had gotten, which was phenomenal.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
delicious.
So
Yeah.
as soon as they brought out more, we were like, it could be
Yeah.
worse.
It definitely,
Like-
it definitely was a divide and conquer moment right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Like, all of us
absolutely.
just started nibbling at it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. God, it was so good.
Yeah, we hit our protein that day.
Oh yes.
And
Yeah.
some. And then yesterday morning, we went straight out to the farms.
Yes.
Yes.
Which was cool because they were actually, picking leaves.
Oh, yeah,
They were
yeah.
taking some primings. And for all the times I've been down here, I've never been out in a field while they were doing that. So it's kind of cool to see the process.
Yeah.
How you think it would work, what they actually
Yeah.
do. It's just like, oh, that is way more efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just walk down the line and they know how far up the plant to go, and they just snap the leaf off and stack it in their palm.
Yeah.
Pass it off to a runner who takes it over to the truck. They throw it in the back of the truck and
And they bring it to the barn.
bring it to the barn.
The field was cool too because it was kind of like you got to see everything in its own stages. Like you
Yeah.
saw like the freshly planted.
Well,
small plant.
so they had 1, 2, 3, 4. They had 4 different plantings.
Yeah.
In the same area, so we could see the different stages of the plant, all the way from 4 inches all the way up to when they were harvesting.
Yeah, which is really cool to see. Like essentially stand there and be like, oh, this is all the different
Right.
stages they
But now
go through.
they also those plants weren't as high or as tall as other tobacco plants that you'll see in fields.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is they were trying to harvest more of the lower leaves.
Mhm.
So the tall leaves, they didn't really, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Once
they're
they
not
got to
worried
enough
about-
of what they needed, then
Yeah.
they'd start harvesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got to do that. Realized that those plants are sticky.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I had it all over my forearms and my legs. I was wearing shorts walking
Yeah.
through the,
Yeah.
down the rows. When I got in the shower at the end of the day, like it was like, oh,
yeah.
it's still there.
Which was actually the first hot shower we'd all taken in
Yeah.
about
That's
3
true.
days
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
there was an issue with the water.
there was something.
Yeah.
We had to go see the drying barns. That was kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
cool. They have their own built-in insect repellent.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yes, they do.
There was
Nature's insect repellent.
yeah, there's probably, I don't know, what, 150 bats, 200
Oh, yeah,
bats, maybe
yeah,
more.
yeah.
It's hard to count them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hanging out, and it was cool because they don't mess with the people,
Yeah.
and they don't touch the tobacco leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just eat the bugs.
They just eat the bugs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that was super cool. And then we went to the box factory. What do you guys think of that?
That's cool.
It's
Yeah.
it's very interesting to see like the final product,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
to see the environment that they make the
Oh,
final product
yeah.
in.
The
Yeah.
process that
Yeah.
it takes, like, if it's funny being on like the side of like I just see boxes when they show up in Texas,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, that looks really good, and then you
Right.
get there and you're like, oh wow,
How did they make
Yeah.
it look like that?
How is this a thing? Like it's impressive.
Yeah, because it's just like one stack of boards and then one stack of like sheets,
Yep.
and then they just
And
do
they had
it
like
all.
4 pieces of machinery.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Literally, I think it was it.
Yeah, it's not like this huge woodworking shop,
Yeah.
state of the art.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I was looking, and so all the guys that were there, I think they're kind of newer in the industry because they were, I counted 10 fingers on each person.
That was the first thing I did.
Yeah.
There was still only one dude wearing a mask in there, and it was one of the guys downstairs running one of the saws.
Yeah.
The first thing I did, there were 2 dudes that were running like push saws and stuff, and I immediately looked at the hands. I was like, "Oh, these guys are good. They still have all their fingers."
Yeah.
No, they're just new.
That's fair. That's fair.
And then we saw my favorite stamping machine, their press.
Oh, that was
yeah.
so cool.
It's I got a picture of it. I don't know if we might be able to slice it or not, but it's a crankshaft out of like a V8, and it
Oh,
still
yeah.
has one piston rod on it. And at the end of the piston rod is where they attach whatever they're using for the press.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was just like, this is just
Some ingenuity.
it's
That's-
genius.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
improvise, adapt,
Yeah.
and overcome is what
Yeah.
that is.
It's like one guy's like, hey, I got this problem. I need to be able to press this. I don't have a press. And some other dude's like, I'll be right back. Yep. Let's see, what else? I think that was it. And we're back here at the factory on the last day that we're in Estelí.
Yes.
And today is kind of like a wrap-up day. We got all the stuff that we worked on and that we did. We're just going to follow up to make sure that everybody's still on the same page.
Mhm.
Any last minute things that you boys need to do while we're down, or cigars that you want to get,
Yeah.
or whatever. The factory's actually right now in the middle of trying to push a shipment out to Managua to get it out of the country.
Mhm.
And so the whole packaging crew's been working till like 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night every night this week.
Yeah.
Depending on what they get done today, they might be working all through the night to
Yeah.
get everything done, packaged, and loaded. And then tomorrow morning, we're actually heading down to San Juan del Sur
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
to do a little decompress to
Yeah.
let everything we just did actually soak in before we get on the plane and go back to reality.
Yep. Go back to the real world. I do want to say though, so you were talking about how the packaging crews had to stay late and get work done.
Yeah.
Included in that has been Gonzalo, but he is an absolute gangster in the fact that he's always here when we get here
Yep.
early in the
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
Like he's staying late.
He's
such-
Gonzalo is like the definition of a leader and not a boss.
Absolutely.
He's
Yeah.
like the last one to leave, the
Absolutely.
first one that's here.
Yes.
And it's, he cares more about the well-being of his people than, ultimately the outcome of the project matters.
Yeah.
But he knows that if his people are happy while they're doing it, the product's it's gonna be more proficient. It's gonna look better. It's gonna be higher quality.
Absolutely.
And he takes all that into account with everything that they do around here.
But with all that going on, he's still taking us out to the processing
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
fields,
Yeah.
and he's
Right.
just
We're
dumping
going out to
knowledge at
lunch
us.
and stuff. Yeah, going to lunch, talking, and showing us around.
That's been awesome. I've been hearing stories of Gonzalo for years, and so when we got to get here and hang
Yeah.
out and everything, I was so
Yeah.
stoked. He's been beyond expectations.
And the best part, he's like, I don't speak English well.
Yeah.
Like, bro.
Been talking to us all week.
I know. Like, Yeah.
I also like that he'll throw some jabs out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's got some good little witty jokes that he does. Yeah, it's real fun. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to put everything that we did in.
Yeah.
We can't cram 3 12-hour days into 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just no feasible way.
No.
Like,
What stuck out for you guys? Just a quick final thoughts.
Ooh.
Like, what was the one thing that you're like, you know what, that was one of the coolest things that I've seen while we were down here?
I mean, like getting to sit down and roll a cigar was probably the highlight. That was so cool. Getting to like watch them the whole process and then doing it start to finish and then smoking it at dinner that night was so awesome. Like, and then especially after like seeing everything, and then you're like, oh yeah, like this. We were just at the field where this came from, and now turning it into a cigar and smoking it. Like that was so cool.
I'd have to say, honestly, probably the processing side of it, because it was so much information packed into a small timeline.
Yeah.
But it was that like the whole curtain was pulled. Over.
Right.
Like, it was like this is each and every step. And I never even thought about the fact, like, when he rolled the cigar, I was like, oh, I didn't think that was an... I thought it would have been like, no, like, it has to go through all this so that it can be properly smoked, or else it just won't work. And when he just whipped that thing out and we all got to smoke, I was like, that's so crazy that wasn't even an idea in my head.
Right.
That it was a possibility.
Like, we could do that?
Oh, yeah, I'd be doing that all the time down here.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah, like every time I was like, let me check this one out. And I'd roll it up and I'd puff on it.
Absolutely.
I'd be doing that regularly.
Yeah.
But it was, the processing for me was insane. Like, I think I was the most exhausted that day just from the sheer, like, just information.
brain
tired.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But that was really cool.
Yeah, what do you got?
I think finally getting the 1,000-foot view, finally having a chance to put eyes on every single step in the process, because I've been with you guys for basically since day one.
Yeah.
And I've always heard, then it's got to go through here, then it's got to go through here. And, from teaching me Cerakote, I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
Like being able to see it firsthand, everything falls into place now.
Yeah. And especially, like, I feel like the more you learn about it, the more it helps you determine, like, what you like. You know what I mean? Like, what you enjoy. Like, and we've talked about it this week, and I don't know if this will kind of go, get the light bulb moment for you, but, we were talking about sizes and blends and strengths and all this stuff, right? And now that you've learned all this information, now you can put why that size or why that blend is something that you like versus like, oh no, I just like this, but I don't know why.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now that you have all the knowledge, you're just like, oh, I like this because it's, it's a smaller ring gauge and I get more of that wrapper flavor, or it's larger and I like that filler that comes out of it from this region.
Yeah.
If a cigar smokes a funny or a different way, now you have a little bit more knowledge to understand why it might do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It was also really cool to see how nothing goes to waste at all.
Nothing.
That
Like
is
if
true.
any cigar gets messed up or anything, they're like, all right, well, rip it apart, we'll re-dry it or whatever, and then we'll pack it a different way, and then it can be filler. Or you rip that leaf, well, it's still good enough for me to use as the end cap, or I can use it to roll one of the smaller cigars.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just cool how like everything gets used no matter what.
Yes.
Yep. And it's especially living in the States, it's something where it's like, if it's not perfect, we throw it away, we get another one.
Yeah.
Here, they're like, no, that's still good.
Yeah.
It's just not good for that specific thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just redo it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It gives. I get crazy motivated after I'm down here and I get back to the States.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, let's go. And then, you grind and grind and grind, and then you get burnt out. And then you come back down here, and then you get remotivated, and then you grind and grind and grind, and you get burnt out. But being down here and learning the process and seeing it every single time just builds more and more respect that I have for the final product.
Yeah.
Because I get reminded of the sheer insane amount of work that gets put into making this so I can enjoy the experience of smoking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot of manual labor, a lot of manpower, a lot of time, logistics to make everything here operate how it operates, plus getting it to the States and then maintaining everything to try to keep this at the best possible temperature, humidity,
Yeah.
conditions that so the customer can enjoy it.
Yes.
But it's now that you guys see the process start to finish, do you still think that $10, $12 cigars are too expensive?
Yeah, it makes sense. You're like,
I think if John Q. Public at the Cigar Lounge up in the States were to have the opportunity to go through what we went through in the last 36 hours, I think that they would also come out of it with the same amount of appreciation that we have now
Right.
Mm-hmm.
for what we pay for the product that we enjoy so much
Yeah.
in the States.
Yeah.
It's so impressive, the fact that like the whole process that a single cigar goes through, the fact that it leaves the country, enters another country, and like in the States, if it's a Warfighter cigar, it lands in Texas and then ends up somewhere else in the country,
Yeah.
and then it ends up in someone's hand. Like it can go through that whole process and still be
Right.
like dialed in and exactly how it was supposed to be.
Yep.
It's insane.
Like it's super cool that we got to go to the farms now too, because there's going to be a time down the road where you're going to be smoking one of the Warfighter cigars, and you're going to be like, you know what?
I could have seen this leaf.
I'm can almost guarantee you that I stood on the soil where this tobacco came from.
Yeah.
That's really so cool.
And what did you say? What's the process from like plant to smoking it? What is that time period?
It could be up to 3 to 5 years, sometimes more, sometimes less, depends on the type of tobacco.
But it's usually at least 3-ish, right?
Yeah,
It's pretty
the
close
whole
to 3 years,
between when it's planted from when they put the seed, all the way through the growing process, and then the process inside of it.
Yeah.
Plus, then they have to age.
Yeah.
Then they get rolled, and then they age again.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that alone shows you like for $10 and $12, like just the time it takes to make it.
Yeah. So like
would be worth
when we place an order for cigars, we're looking 120, 150 days before it gets delivered.
Yeah.
And that's just the manufacturing, the rolling side.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include any of the processing or any of the growing or anything that comes before that.
Yeah.
That's starting with tobacco that's already gone through.
Yeah,
because
they've already been doing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, it's not a quick. It's not like I'm going to plant it this fall and we'll have cigars next spring.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, 3 springs from now. Yeah.
If
right.
you want Candela, maybe.
Yeah.
The only thing that we didn't do while we were here, there's one facility down here that does bands.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't get to go do that. The main reason is I really didn't have any business to do there. And I didn't want to distract those guys because I know how busy the band companies, because there's only a handful in the world that do them for the entire cigar industry.
Yeah.
And if I'm not doing work there, I don't want to take time away from these guys. So I apologize because we didn't get down there.
Fine,
But we covered every other aspect of a cigar except for the band manufacturer.
Yeah.
You know what that is? It's an excuse for round 2.
It is.
Yeah.
or I can show you what a print shop looks like. Either way, because that's all it really is. I mean, they got some really cool machines.
Yeah.
You get to see they have their catalogs, their books of all the stuff they've done over the years, and like there's some amazing stuff that's been made.
Yeah.
Like I want a copy of one of those books just so I can use it for ideas.
Yeah.
And so I can put together other stuff. But there's nobody. They're like, no.
Yeah.
Go collect your own. Well, quick final thoughts from anybody?
Fucking awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, so cool. Like once in a lifetime experience for fucking like 99% of people
Absolutely.
on Earth. So really cool to be able to come and do this and see it all.
Yeah, if you're a cigar smoker,
Oh,
do this at least once.
yes.
So you understand.
There are companies that do factory tours.
Yeah.
We're not quite there yet.
Sure.
This is kind of a trial run for it.
Yeah.
This is the first time that we brought down people other than like, Scott and myself, our immediate family. And so, I mean, I think it worked out good.
It did.
I had a great time.
Awesome.
It did.
So if you guys didn't have fun, that's on you.
And that's the thing. Like, as fast as we went and as much as we did, I never felt like we were rushed to do one thing or the next thing. It was, we were steady. We were moving. We were constantly moving.
Yep.
But it was never, oh my God, we got to wrap this up because we got to go do this or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, the pace was good.
Yeah.
If there was any downtime, it was almost it was kind of nice because
Yeah.
we've been moving at 100 miles
Yeah.
an hour, and then it was like All right, breathe.
Yeah, hey, let's come up here and
Well,
lay in the
let's go.
hammocks
Yeah,
for
yeah.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
But-
Smoke our test blend.
No, it was so fucking. And I gotta say it again. I love my job. I fucking love my job.
Yeah.
But,
It's fun.
Heck
Well,
yeah.
cool guys. We got an absolute metric shit ton of content while we were down here. So we're gonna be putting out some really cool videos. Going in depth about how all this stuff works and the processes that are down here, and what actually goes into making our cigars. So stay tuned, all that fun stuff. Thanks for listening to this, and yeah, we'll see you in our next wild
yeah.
adventure that we have going on.
oh, go follow Caleb.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go follow Caleb.
Caleb Francis and all the platforms.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Sweet.